Wonderful people and their genius minds. I would like to invite everybody to do a little moment of gratitude with me. Would you guys be willing to do this? Anybody into it? Okay, cool. All right, let's everybody take a big deep inhale together. And exhale. And inhale again. And exhale. I want you to remember giving yourself so much gratitude and props for making it all the way here, making it all the way here in life, all the trials, the tribulations, the mistakes, the letdowns, the rejections. You made it. We're all here together. We are Bitcoin warriors. I want to always remember who I am and why I'm here, and I want you to always remember who you are and why you're here. We are on the mission together. Every single person that we get to meet, you know, you hug them and it's like, I'm at a family reunion, right? Isn't that the best feeling ever? What's your mission? You know, we all have these divine purposes, these great gifts that we've been granted. And I'm always so inspired by all the people who just show up and do it. They don't ask for permission. They're just like, there's a problem. I got something. I think I can add some value to this situation. And so that's what inspires me so much about Bitcoiners. And my life changed. A year ago, I became a toxic maxi, and here I am rocking it with y'all fine people. And it's just the best thing in my whole life. And I can't even say enough gratitude to each of you because you give me the wind beneath my wings. So I hope I can do the same for you. Our next guest is the CTO of Bitfinex. He's going to be talking about Keet, which is a peer-to-peer video and text chat, no middlemen, private, encrypted, can't get censored. Isn't that the best? Rock and roll. Would you guys please welcome Paolo Ardoino to the stage. Aloha.
Thank you. Well, the music is great, right? A little bit of rock and roll in the morning. So today I would like to talk to you about one of the things that I have more at heart. That is the continuum of Bitcoin in the, starting from money into the communication world, right? So we are extremely excited, of course, to see how Bitcoin opened the path to create this uncensorable, free, as in freedom, money, right? But the concept of the individual sovereignty that is really dear to me require two things: financial freedom, Bitcoin, and also freedom of speech, right? Freedom of communicate with whomever you want. And so we have, with Bitfinex, Tether, and Hole Punch, and Synonym, we started working on technology that could enable pure freedom of speech, freedom of communication. So I would like to start to talk to you about the a little bit of story of internet, right? So let's see. All right, I want to talk to you about what I think internet is today, right? So I believe the internet is rigged, right? Internet is rigged because it's a place where only big tech companies can have a control, right? The cost of creating internet infrastructure is insane. The maintenance of internet infrastructure is insane. So how actually we can fix that? How we can democratize the internet infrastructure that is already existing, that we are paying for, right? So at home you have your broadband and so on. So how we can make that more, how we can leverage what we have already rather than trying to double the number of data centers, centralized data centers that we have every year. So the way is that, everyone in this room, everyone has, multiple devices, multiple phones, a smartwatch maybe, and, you have your smart TV, a smart fridge, whatever, right? So all these devices, I mean, every single year we think that we should buy a newer device because the previous one is not capable anymore. But the reality is that all these devices are extremely, extremely powerful. They have an iPhone, for example, can do perfectly 4K videos with super high quality, has 256 gigs of storage and so on, right? So it's not, is much more than what most desktop computers are, and also has enormous power also compared to, also certain mainframes, at least, a mainframe of 5 years ago, right, could have similar power than, a couple of iPhones. So, okay. So the problem is that what we have been told is that we need data centers, that we have been taught that cloud is our friend, right? Over the years, we were lured into thinking that cloud storage solutions could help us to prevent data losses. That's kind of true. That could help us in keeping everything, all our personal digital life secure. But actually, that is a big lie to me, because data centers are, first of all, a single point of failure. Data centers are extremely expensive, and data centers are, a way for only a few companies in the world to make money on your data, right? Around 70% of internet is being served, or internet websites and applications are served through the data centers of the three biggest companies, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. So the absurd to me is that we are used to use all these data centers, and we are here now in El Salvador, right? El Salvador doesn't have, big data centers, and especially big firms like Zoom, WhatsApp, and Meta, and so on. They don't have physical data centers here. So, if you are now in this room, right, you take out your device and you want to send a message to your neighbor, right, on Telegram or WhatsApp or so on. This message will travel at least 1,000 kilometers before reaching your neighbor. How that doesn't make sense, right? So we are going to Mars, and yet we think that we need someone else's server to make our data travel, right? Doesn't make sense. Our technology, devices, computers, internet lines are good enough to allow devices to communicate between each other without any central server. But why this is happening, right? Internet is not made for peers, it's made for corporations and VCs. Internet initially was supposed to be made for peers, right? After Usenet, right? When Usenet was born in the late 80s, beginning 90s, and then the real internet came together. That was a way for people to share information, to educate the others, right? Started from universities and educational efforts. And then with the 2000, right, with the dot-com bubble, everyone started to understand that you could make a ton of money if you were able to control internet. That's how Google started, Microsoft, and the others. So the business model of internet is data harvesting. So as I was saying before, these big tech companies are obsessed by your own data. Right? They want the only way to survive and keep, being profitable and keep expanding what they have, the data centers that they have, to build more of them, is to every single day ask for more of your data. Right? It's kind of we are feeding them drugs in order to make sure that in order for them to be sure to be surviving. So the result is that these create, of course, massively centralized data centers, as I said, and single port of failures. If you are an investor in one of these big tech firms, the only thing that you want to hear every quarter when there is a shareholder meeting, you want to make sure that your company that you invest into has ways to keep control over people's data, right? Because that's the only way you can ensure to make money. So this is the control is perfect for big tech companies, but is extremely bad for resilience. A couple of weeks ago, WhatsApp went down, and half of the world could not talk to each other, couldn't send messages, right? But it's clear that is wrong, but still there is more and more incentives from these big tech firms to keep doing this, right? Because every single year that passes, that we produce double the amount of data, and we never forget the old data, right? So without forgetting the old data, new data centers has to be created. And this is going on and on and on, and is not stopping, right? So this is fine, right? It is not fine. So this is why we built Keet. Keet is a peer-to-peer video, audio, text, chat application, right? With Keet, we wanted to demonstrate that cloud is a scam, that we don't need to travel thousands of kilometers to talk with our neighbor, with our family. We don't need to use someone else's data center. Should I put it in front? Better. So, Keet is a scalable chat app, fully private, encrypted. So the beauty of it is that it's fully 100% end-to-end encrypted, right? In peer-to-peer, since there is no way that data is not encrypted. It's stored encrypted on your hard drive, travels the moment it leaves your computer. It travels thousands of kilometers to get you to talk to your friend in Japan or your neighbor. The data stays always encrypted. It has Bitcoin payments built in, right? Non-custodial Lightning payments. So you can configure, you have a nice setup, you can configure your Lightning node, for example, and so you can pay your friends, or you send tips to your friends in the chat. And the beauty of it is that it's free forever. Why is free forever? There is no cost of infrastructure. It's just development. It's open source technology, right? It's something that, as a group of companies, we wanted to build in order to demonstrate that all what we were subject to for the last several years was completely wrong and unnecessary, and just made a few companies rich. How? Again, is 100% peer-to-peer, right? So you have your device, two devices, and there is a beautiful technology that we didn't invent, but was made famous, famous in the geek world and in the tech world by BitTorrent, and this technology is called hole punching. So hole punching is a technique that allows two devices behind firewalls to connect to each other, right, without passing through a central server. So this is an extremely powerful technique that is supported by all the firewalls in the world, all the basic ones, the most expensive one like Cisco and so on. Works perfectly, works in every single region, and so on. And when we built Keet, right, we wanted also to demonstrate that we could build a new economy for internet. So when you think about an application like a competitor of Keet, could be Zoom, could be WhatsApp, could be Telegram and so on, you think how many developers these guys have, right? These companies have. Usually is in the order of the hundreds. So because you have to build the front end, of course, the nice UX, UI, and also you have to build the entire infrastructure and manage the entire infrastructure. Well, Keet was developed by one front-end developer, a really good one, but still one front-end developer working for 6 months from his own laptop, right? So how, well, before we pass to this, right, imagine how this is powerful. So this is so powerful because you are now providing an even playing field to every single web developer in the world, because really we decided to build Keet based on hole punch, that is basically this SDK, this framework that is powering Keet, right? We decided to build it in JavaScript, in Node.js, and with the front end can be built in React and React Native, right? So now suddenly, every single web developers are the most common developers in the world. Every single web developer can build a competitor for an application like Zoom, like WhatsApp, like Gmail, like Facebook and Twitter and so on. And all from his laptop, working everywhere. And usually no developer would go and try an adventure of building something like so complex, because even if you are a developer, web developer, you build a beautiful UI for a communication suite. You know that if you want to do anything, you have to raise through VCs hundreds of millions of dollars to pay for the data centers. And guess what? Here we are proving that you don't need that. So now you have an horde, like an army of developers, completely independent, one from each other. We are talking about tens of millions, if not 100 million people, that can build their own applications without servers, competing with the biggest companies in the world. So never on a server. So that is, there is no compromise. This technology, so this framework, hole punch, is empowering Keet, can empower, again, any other application. So let me go a little bit in details about hole punch, right? Hole punch is a framework, an SDK, right? Something that developers can take and expand and leverage to build this peer-to-peer interaction. So basically, the peer-to-peer interaction, in simple terms, is a set of primitives. How I can connect to a certain device, how I can find that device, how I can store a file, through a chunk of multiple devices, how I can encrypt all these communications, and so on. Right? Every single one of these pieces has been solved and built in the base framework called hole punch. So now suddenly, again, web developers don't need to know about encryption, they don't need to know about a peer-to-peer, is all solved for them, right? Again, it's free, is extremely fast, and think about the latency, right? So imagine that you are doing a chat with your neighbor here in El Salvador, and a video chat, right? So your traffic, as I was saying before, has to go through thousands of kilometers. So, and then gets compressed and you get higher latency. But instead with hole punch, right, it will find the shortest path to your neighbor, the person you are talking to, you want to talk to, right? So likely we'll go to the nearby cell tower and the nearby, infrastructure switch, and then back to your friend. So will always find the best path and will always allow you to use at best your bandwidth. So the beauty of hole punch, I'm not here to sell you anything, right? So there is no blockchain, no token, no servers. So is something that is uncensorable, no one can control it, is fully open source, and so on and so on. So what we want to achieve with Keet is, and hole punch, is making sure that every single developer can start to be, sorry for the term, a pain in the ass for all the big tech companies. Because, we can imagine all this distributed development power of everyone independently creating applications that one after the other can steal a little bit of a small piece of the revenues of the big tech companies. That is going to have a domino effect on the centralization of internet. So what's in for us, right? So why someone like Bitfinex or Hole Punch as a company, or like Tether should do this, right? So what is the catch? People always ask me, where is the catch, right? How you make money? Well, I'm using a sentence that was not said or created by me, but was the Joker in Batman, right? For us, this is not about the money. It's about sending a message, right? The way you can read this is kind of, there are multiple ways you can read this, right? You take the first part, for us, this is not about the money. Bitcoin is about the money, right? And the second part is, it's about sending a message. So we want, as I said at the beginning, the individual sovereignty, right? Not all is about the money. It's all about also freedom of communication. So it's about sending messages. The other way to read it is that for us, we are a lucky group of companies, so we don't need to make necessarily an extra buck, right? So we have been lucky enough to be in this space for a long time. And so, you know, we are seeing that some more recent companies, you know, they are falling down by the day. So stay safe, just parentheses. And so, you know, we didn't have to squeeze into this project a way to make revenues. Everyone is playing on an even playing field, even us, right? So there is no way to control this technology, because remember, basically, this is BitTorrent for live data streams, right? BitTorrent was a great technology, and is a great technology, was used for file sharing. Well, in really simple terms, what I'm telling you today is that we took BitTorrent as a technology, as a framework, and we extended to live data streams. So basically, we extended to internet applications, not just static files. So now, if back to the sentence, right? So for us, it's not about making another buck on this project, but it's about sending a message to the broader Bitcoin community that always fought for you know, the freedom of the financial freedom, that there is also something else to push forward now, right? Cypherpunks are now, they really manage really well the freedom of money, and now we have to start the other battle, that is freedom of communication. We are hearing a lot about censorship on social media and so on. So we need to, you know, right now, you can argue that in certain countries things are fine, but you never know, right? What will reserve the future for us. So things can turn out for the worst pretty quickly. And if we don't have a solution to fight this control of big tech over communications, I think that you know, we will not ever be free. Although even if we have Bitcoin, we will never be free for real. So the message we want to give is, hey, big tech and VCs, the peers are coming for you. Thank you.
Woohoo! That was awesome, brother. Awesome, you guys. So